Am I the a-hole for telling my husband to stop helping my neighbor and her son? About 5 years ago, my neighbor Jane kept walking over to our house and sending me messages asking for help for her son to learn to snowboard for my husband. No. The story could have ended right there, because what are you talking about? I'm assuming Jane is a single mom, because why are you coming over here asking if my husband can help your son? Okay, no, let me stop. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Let me just keep reading. Jane's husband. What's good, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. It's Tiara, and for those who are new, welcome. Today is Reddit Wednesday, and the topic for today is chaotic neighbors. For those who are new to my channel, every Wednesday we deep dive into Am I the A-hole stories, and after reading through the whole scenarios, we decide if they're the a-hole or not. Y'all know I don't like to keep my intros too long, so let's get straight into the video. Am I the a-hole for continuing to change in front of my window even after my neighbor complained? I, early 30s female, bought a house last year with my fiance, but we only just moved in a few months ago because it needed some work. Our neighbors are a woman, her husband, and their college-aged son. Everything was fine until a few weeks ago when the neighbor woman came over, visibly upset, and told me she saw me changing through my window and would appreciate if I didn't do that there. I was surprised because the angle of the window makes it so that someone would really have to go out of their way to see anything. I checked it out myself, and unless you're standing in a very specific spot in their yard, you can't see much at all. If you check the premises and it's really that hard to see you changing the window, that's cool and all, but the overall concept is that you're still changing in front of the window. I understand it's your house, you want to do things your way, but I do feel like when it comes to a situation where you have neighbors, then there has to be some kind of consideration. And in my opinion, I don't even feel like the neighbor is asking for anything too crazy. You're changing in front of the window. And I'm 99% sure there's other rooms in the house that you could change in. What I'm wondering is, even if you want to change in your room, which I understand is normal, why can't you just take 2 steps to the side? Why you gotta be right in front of the window? I know you're expressing how you feel about it, but in my opinion, I don't think that was a crazy ask. To be clear, no one in her family, husband or son, has ever mentioned seeing me. She was just worried that they might. I didn't feel like I should have to change my habits for her, especially since they'd have to be actively trying to look in. So I kept changing there, as I had been. See, girl. Okay, look, I don't think that if the husband or the son saw you doing that, they would say something. I feel like that would be uncomfortable for them to do in the first place. I know she said that she's worried that they might see you, but honestly, they probably already saw you and they told her and she didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I think it was appropriate for the wife to tell you because it's like a girl-to-girl situation. Like, how uncomfortable would you be if the husband or the son, let alone, came up to you telling you that they saw you changing? I'm sure that would make both of y'all uncomfortable. I already feel like it's inconsiderate to keep doing it. It's just a respect thing, in my opinion. Or get some blinds, because it sounds like you don't have curtains or blinds or something to cover it up. Because if they could see you, then that just tells us that you're not covering the window. I don't know, that's just me. Well, she came over again last week, this time freaking out at my fiance, calling me a whore and accusing me of being disrespectful. I honestly think it's ridiculous because I'm in my own home and I'm not flaunting myself. Her husband came over and apologized and said he asked her specifically not to do that and clarified he hadn't ever mentioned seeing me, nor had his son. My fiance told me just to get new blinds or try to change in a different area, but I think that's BS and have been doing as I have since I moved in. Am I the a-hole? Well, this is tricky. First things first, the neighbor did way too much. She did not have to call you that. She did not have to call you out of your name. 2, I know I just said that maybe the husband and the son did see you, but if they're saying that they didn't see you, we're gonna just believe that, okay? I don't want to change my opinion based off of something that didn't happen. But to answer your question, this is really tricky for me. I would have to lean more towards yes. Only because it doesn't seem like you have a valid reason to continue changing in front of the window. Like, there's so many other rooms you can change in. You could step to the side. Your husband even suggested getting some new blinds or something just to at least compromise. This is a situation where compromise would make the most sense. I understand that this is your home, you should do things the way that you want to do, but the neighbor's got a college son. I just feel like so many things can be avoided by just compromising. That doesn't dismiss the neighbor's behavior. She did not need to call you that. She was way out of line. I think she's also the a-hole. I don't know if I can do like a double-double like you guys are both a-hole, but she didn't have to do that. And I can understand after her doing all that, you have even more of a reason to not want to compromise. I get that. But overall, even before she came up to you saying all that kind of stuff, there's no reason for you to continue changing from the window at all. I just don't feel like you need to really expose yourself to the neighbors. I know you said you're not flaunting, but I don't know. I just don't think this is an issue that really needs to be happening. That's my opinion. I would say there's like a double a-hole for you and the neighbor. But at the end of the day, it's your home. You can do whatever you want to do, so that's on you. Am I the a-hole? Neighbor says I'm making them uncomfortable being around their kids. Ooh, and your man? I, 40 male, live in a somewhat rural place. Decent land between houses and a lot of forest. In between me and my neighbor's land, there's a decent sized pond. Technically it's all on my land, but one side of it is surrounded by neighbor land. There's a dock on it. I upgraded it about 15 years ago, so it's somewhat nice. It's right next to the property boundary if that's important. I go down there somewhat often. I usually am down there for a few hours in the evening with my dog, my work computer, and sometimes a drink. My neighbors are in their late 20s, early 30s, moved in a few years ago. They have a pair of young kids, both under 10. I'd guess maybe 5, 6, and 8, 9. Their backyard is not far from where I am in the evening, and neither yard is fenced in. Every few days, the kids come outside when I'm down by the pond. I ignore them, but about a week ago, my neighbors approached me and asked if I would go inside or somewhere else when my kids were outside. They said I made them feel uncomfortable letting their kids go in the backyard, and that their kids are also scared of my dog. It sounds like they need to move. They are so out of pocket for even expecting you to be inside. You said you have all this land, so I'm assuming this is your house. It's not like it's an apartment. Well, no, even if it is an apartment, there's no reason for you to go outside. It sounds like they need to be taken to a playground. And so far, just from the information that you provided, it doesn't sound like you're doing anything sketchy. I mean, you said you have a drink, so unless you're acting cuckoo, that's one thing, but there's just no reason for it. It's just so interesting to me how people think that you need to revolve around them. That's just my 2 cents. I do not pay attention to their kids. I usually am facing away from them and never directly facing them. I do get why they would not want their kids outside alone with me nearby, as much as it sucks, because it seems to have been misunderstood. I am not on any registry, nor do I have any criminal history. However, I get that they may feel uneasy about their kids being around a man that they do not know very well. Okay. I get the concept too. I think any parent or anyone in their right mind will understand why they don't want their kids around a grown man. I get that, but you guys are at home. And if they're that comfortable, then they can be outside with the kids. Why are you letting your kids outside by themselves if you're that uncomfortable? Make it make sense. My dog is always tied up when he's on the dock with me. He never barks when we're down there. Usually he naps. He is a fairly large dog, 75 to 80 pounds, but there's almost no chance he could or would hurt them. They also express concern about me drinking. I'm sorry. It is just too many rules. The easiest solution for this is to just stay inside. Them, not you, them. Because what do you mean you have a problem with me drinking? Like, it doesn't seem like you're going haywire. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I would keep some tabs on them. I could just see, I don't know what it is, but I could just see them making up some crazy story or reporting you for something that you didn't do, and you don't want to get bound up in something like that. Just keep an eye on them. I do not get anywhere near the point of being intoxicated. It's at most 1 drink when I do have it, and I have it maybe a couple times a month. I told them that I appreciate them reaching out to me, but I'm not going to stop. This week I kept doing it, and I got a somewhat angry letter. I'm honestly starting to doubt if I should just head inside when they come out. Am I the a-hole for not listening to them? And would I be the a-hole if I kept doing what I'm doing? No, absolutely not. And I kind of wish you read the letter to us so we could see what they're saying, but I'm assuming it's not good. And kind of going off of what I said before, when it comes to checking on them, I would honestly, wholeheartedly install some cameras if you don't already. I'm trying to tell you, with the pond there, like, I can already see something going on. God forbid anything happens to those kids, but like being around the pond, it doesn't sound like they're being supervised by the parents, but if anything happens to those kids, you already know they're going to be blaming you. I would say there's no reason to change your habits, but I would just be careful. Am I the a-hole for telling the new neighbor I don't see us being friends? My husband, 36 male, and I, 29 female, have lived in our neighborhood for about 5 years. Our house is towards the edge of the complex, and neither of us are very social, so we keep to ourselves. The rest of the people in our area tend to do so as well. We had someone that moved in down the street maybe a month or so ago. Didn't really know much about them, except I noticed when we drove by that it looked like they had young children and that they had some political signs out in front that indicated we were on pretty much opposite sides of the political spectrum. 2 days ago, there was a knock on the door. I opened it because I was expecting a package, and it was a woman about my age. She introduced herself as the new neighbor and started talking a mile a minute. She told me that she had 3 children, was a stay-at-home mom, was new to the area, and some other stuff that I don't really remember. Your neighbor is very brave. I'm not saying you're a dangerous person, but the fact that she came, knocked on the door, didn't even know who lived there, and just spilled her whole life story is crazy. In the world we live in, she's brave. Obviously, you wouldn't have good neighbors, don't get me wrong, but off rip, you're already gonna tell her that you have 3 kids and you stay at home? What if you were crazy? What if you didn't even live there? What if you were a family member who was crazy? What if you were a squatter? You know what I'm saying? That's just wild to me, but let's continue. Then she started peppering me with questions and seemed to get more and more disappointed as I answered. She asked if I had children. No. Did we plan on having children? No. Do I know any of the social activities in the area? No. Do I know any local mom groups? No. Do I ever babysit? Hard no. You get the picture. That's when I would know we're not talking. We're not cool. But that would give me extra confirmation that I do not need to be interacting with you. Because why are you questioning me? Why are you grilling me? Why are you testing me? Why are you asking me all these questions that you can find out on the internet? How are you gonna move somewhere, which I'm assuming there's probably an HOA? You can get all those questions answered, but instead you're gonna go to your neighbor's house who you know nothing about to ask all these questions. Crazy. And by the way she's questioning you, it makes me feel like she would definitely be telling other people those answers, which is a no-no. She seemed to run out of steam and almost pouted and said it didn't seem like we did much at all. I laughed and told her that my husband and I preferred things quiet and kept to ourselves, but that the neighborhood seemed to get a bit more busy and social closer to the center of it because there was a school. So maybe she could find something more what she was looking for there. She said she was hoping to get to know her close neighbors and told me to come over for coffee sometime and that I could meet her kids and husband. No, don't do it. Don't go over there. I thanked her politely but was honest and told her it didn't seem like we had much in common and I couldn't really see us being friends, but that I was sure she could find a good mom group at the playground towards the center of the neighborhood. She got visibly angry and asked if my husband was as big as an a-hole as I was, and I thought for a moment, then said yeah. She stomped off. I might have been an a-hole because I was direct and didn't give her much of a chance, but I just don't think we could have mixed well. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. Your neighbor's crazy. She came to your house, uninvited, no notice, started grilling you with questions, and then got mad when she didn't answer your questions. Is wild. The entitlement is above the roof. And for her to even be on your property talking about, is your husband an a-hole? That door would have been in your face. End of story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband to stop helping my neighbor and her son? About 5 years ago, my neighbor Jane kept walking over to our house and sending me messages asking for help for her son to learn to snowboard from my husband. No. The story could have ended right there, because what are you talking about? I'm assuming Jane is a single mom, because why are you coming over here asking if my husband can help your son? Okay, no, let me stop. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Let me just keep reading. Jane's husband, Jane's husband. Yeah, that's a hard no. Jane has a husband, but Jane's asking your husband to help her son. She likes him. I know I jumped to conclusions fast, but it's just so plain and clear. Why can't you hire somebody to do that? Why can't you take him to class? Guys, am I wrong for thinking that? Maybe I'm just crazy. Who knows? Jane's husband wasn't interested in helping, and she kept telling me how great it was that my husband would snowboard with my son. At one point, she asked if my husband, her, and her son can go snowboarding together. I put my foot down and said absolutely not, because she lost her mind. I think the only thing that would make sense in the situation is if she asked for your husband to take her son with him, with your son. Like if it was just your husband and the two kids, okay, maybe we can let that slide. But she's talking about her, him, and her son, not even your son. The red flags are so bright. Fast forward a number of years later and her son is now 16. She again asked for help buying a new snowboard and my husband is nice and went and helped her and her son purchase one. He went? No, let me stop. If you good, I'm good. She then started texting him asking if she can go with my husband and my son and her son snowboarding the next weekend. My husband said that was fine. However, my son decided not to go last minute because he wanted to just spend time with my husband. My husband didn't know that, but I did. My husband spent the day with Jane and her son, even after me telling him that I wasn't happy about him going and that he should cancel. But he said he already told her he would and didn't want to flake. It's okay. The reason why I find this whole situation as red flag is because she only wants to do this with your husband. If it was a situation where she's like, hey, I would love if you taught my son, how about your wife can come and we can hang out while you teach my son this, then I can see the vision. But she didn't. She just wants to hang out with him. And especially after he said that his son doesn't want to do it, what in her right mind thinks it's okay for her to just hang out with him and his son, your son? And she got a whole husband at home. What does he think? That's just wild. I really want to know what you guys think. Am I crazy for thinking this? Am I doing the most? Because maybe I am. Usually I'm like, you know, maybe I can see both sides, but I can't see her side whatsoever. And your husband's crazy because what do you mean he still went after you said that you didn't like that? It's not like you're asking him anything out of the ordinary. She's asking you not to spend time with your neighbor alone with her son. She texts him during work hours, he replies, and has relentless questions and asking when the next time they can go snowboarding. I told my husband to stop texting her and he can't go with her anymore. It's making me uncomfortable. Your husband's also the problem. I'm sorry, but I had to be honest. Your neighbor's crazy, yes, but you can't really control what other people do, unfortunately, but this is your husband. So the fact that your husband even thinks it's okay after you said so many different times that it makes you uncomfortable is a problem. Note, her husband is around and did go with them to purchase the snowboard, but doesn't have the time to spend spend with them on the weekends. And so she wants my husband to go to help them and show them the ropes. He's one of those people that likes to help others. However, I told him to ghost her. He said it's gonna be weird when he sees her in the neighborhood. And what's he supposed to say when he sees her? I told him to tell her that he's just too busy. Am I the a-hole? No, you're probably the only rational one in this whole story, because they're both crazy. Why does it matter if it's weird? Who cares? That is not his wife. I'm not trying to stir the pot, but I would have so many questions as to why you think it's important to spend the day with the neighbor. And now knowing that the neighbor's husband doesn't have time to spend with her shows that she's trying to substitute that quality time with your husband. That's a problem. So no, you're not the a-hole. If anything, I'm probably the evil one in this whole thing, but it is what it is. Well, that's gonna be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoy. I wanna thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in, for watching. Again, for anyone who is new here to the YouTube crew, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps your girl out. And if you like this video, then it would just make sense to become part of the YouTube crew, because why not? But aside from that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll see you on the flip side. T is out.